There is something unsettling about honesty, especially when it comes from someone who truly understands people. Machiavelli did not invent cruelty, manipulation, or ambition. He merely described them, stripped of illusion, polished by experience, and left naked before the mirror of power. For centuries, his name has been whispered like a warning. Machiavellian, they say, as if to accuse someone of being heartless, cunning, immoral. But perhaps the truth is simpler and more dangerous. Machiavelli wasn't teaching us how to be evil. He was teaching us to see. To see human beings as they are, not as they pretend to be. To understand that beneath every speech about virtue, there is calculation. Beneath every promise of morality, there is desire. And beneath every act of love, there is fear of losing control. In The Prince, Machiavelli writes with the coldness of a surgeon dissecting the human condition. He doesn't condemn the darkness he finds. He measures it, studies it, names it. He tells us that men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, and covetous. And though the words are brutal, they ring with a disturbing familiarity, because deep down, we recognize ourselves in them. His world, Renaissance Florence, was a place of treachery disguised as diplomacy, faith used as a weapon, alliances built on lies. And yet, centuries later, nothing has changed. The stage is modern, but the play is the same. Power still dances to the rhythm of fear and ambition. The faces are different, the instincts identical. Machiavelli understood that control was never maintained through kindness alone. He said it was safer to be feared than loved, not because he despised love, but because he knew how fragile it was. Love depends on memory, fear depends on survival, and survival, he knew, always wins. But there's more behind his cynicism. Machiavelli didn't admire tyranny, he admired clarity. He wrote at a time when leaders pretended to be guided by divine virtue, while secretly murdering, bribing, and deceiving their way to the throne. He tore off that mask and revealed the anatomy of control. He showed that those who rule with morality alone will be devoured by those who understand manipulation. To him, morality without strategy was weakness. Virtue without intelligence was suicide. He saw politics as an art, the art of survival. And survival in a world ruled by chaos demands precision, not purity. But there's another layer, the part most people miss. Machiavelli wasn't only talking about princes and kings. He was talking about you, about me, about the everyday power struggles that shape our lives. Because every human relationship, friendship, love, ambition, carries a silent negotiation of control. We smile when it's useful. We hide our anger until it's safe to reveal. We flatter those above us, dominate those below us, and betray when we feel betrayed. It's not evil, it's instinct. The same instinct that built empires and destroyed them. And that's the dark brilliance of Machiavelli. He saw power not as corruption, but as nature. He didn't say the world should be cruel. He said the world is cruel, and if you ignore that, you will suffer for it. He was not giving permission to lie, but warning what happens to those who believe the truth is enough. He believed fortune, chance, ruled half of life, but the other half, he said, belonged to us. to our will, our cunning, our discipline. He compared fortune to a woman, wild, unpredictable, yet conquerable by those bold enough to seize her. It's a metaphor that reveals his entire philosophy. The world will not yield to the gentle, it bends to those who act. And yet, even in his coldness, there is something strangely honest, almost human. Machiavelli knew the cost of what he wrote. He lost his position, his freedom, his safety. He was imprisoned, tortured, exiled, but exile gave him vision. Stripped of power, he began to understand its true shape. He wrote The Prince not as a celebration of manipulation, but as an autopsy of illusion. He saw that the human mind craves order, but the world is built on chaos. That men praise virtue publicly, but worship power privately. That morality collapses when it meets fear, and that even the best intentions rot when exposed to ambition. In this, Machiavelli is not far from Dostoevsky. Both understood that man's greatest conflict is not between good and evil, but between truth and comfort. Machiavelli chose truth, and for that he was hated. He forced us to look at the machinery behind every polite gesture, every noble cause, every handshake, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. But perhaps the most haunting question he leaves us with is this: if you strip away the illusions of morality and idealism, what remains of humanity? Are we creatures of reason or animals of advantage? Are we capable of genuine virtue, or do we only wear it when convenient? Machiavelli would say, virtue is useful, but only when it serves power. Compassion is admirable, but dangerous when it blinds you. Mercy is noble, but fatal when it invites betrayal. He reminds us that strength without compassion becomes tyranny, but compassion without strength becomes ruin. So where does that leave us? If love fades and fear rules, if manipulation is human nature, is there still room for conscience? Maybe, but only in self-awareness. To know the game doesn't mean to become its worst player. It means to play it consciously. To understand that control is not only over others, but over oneself. Machiavelli's real lesson isn't to deceive, but to perceive. To see human nature without judgment and to act with eyes open. Because blindness in the name of virtue is still blindness. And so his legacy remains misunderstood, feared, twisted, simplified. But beneath the cold analysis lies a profound truth, that knowledge of power is not evil, the use of it is. That seeing humanity's flaws doesn't make you cruel, it makes you awake. Because only those who understand control can ever hope to be free from it.